Welcome to the Healing Spirits Here and There podcast with Terry and Amanda, where you'll hear spiritual perspectives, weird mediumship experiences, and try intuitive and trust-building exercises for yourself. Like and subscribe to never miss a show, and let's get started.
It's Here and There podcast, and I'm Terry.
I'm Amanda, and today we are going to be talking about how to become more spiritual. And why is that important? Why do we want to be more spiritual? You got an answer, Terry?
We want to be more spiritual so we could heal the world. Right?
Yeah, and live a more peaceful life too.
Right. We've got to fix us so we could overflow it to people say, wow, she kind of glows. Oh, look, she's really nice. Oh, maybe I should do that.
Yeah, totally. And more spiritual too, because I'm sorry, but the world is confusing. And I think when you are more spiritual, you have a connection to somewhere where you can make decisions with confidence. And it doesn't always have to come from what is going on outside. And when there is so much confusion like there is today, it's good to have a foundation of trust within yourself and whatever your spiritual practice is, your higher self, the universe, spirit, God, Jesus, whatever you connect with. And I feel like that is connected with inside of you too. If you can just get quiet enough to connect with it, and when you need an answer, try that first, and then maybe go do other stuff. But that's part of the reason, because we've been talking so much about like taking your own power back. And I feel like part of that is getting clear within yourself.
This is true. I believe that. I believe the more that we talk about it, and some people can't do it and don't want to do it, or they don't think it's going to help. But I do believe in order to heal the world, that everybody needs to show more love. They have to, and you have to start with yourself, right? And by all means, I'm not perfect. And being spiritual doesn't mean I'm not allowed to say the F word, because that's a very spiritual word for me. I'm just saying,
I heard someone say, hey, I'm a psychic, not a saint.
Right. And it's my word. It's just, I could use it in a spiritual way.
I mean, we're human, so we're not perfect. We're just trying to journey through this place. And, the ripple effect is a really big thing. And off camera, we were just talking about that, and how everything you do, it really does affect other people. And you can ripple for good, you can ripple for bad, but you have no idea how far your actions, and even your smiling at someone at their grocery store, how far that can go. And so, like Terry said, if we can get good with ourselves and love ourselves, we can help spread that. Because I know a lot of us.
One person at a time. I have a saying, and I always wanted to copyright it and make it into T-shirts or books or whatever. And my thing is, be the pebble in the ripple. So what you want to attract, you throw that pebble in and you do it. And whether it's bad or good, that ripple goes, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not perfect, but I try. I try. I go to bed at night and lay there, which you shouldn't do. Now I've switched something up here, and I feel like it's working. When I go to bed at night, I don't know why my mind goes there, but I sit there and go, did I piss anybody off today? Did I say anything rude today? Was I kind today? Was I don't know. So then I'm like, no, get out of my head. Now I say, I am happy, and I am good, and I make a difference, and I matter, and I'm needed.
That's amazing. It really helps.
Yeah. And that's at night. So maybe when we go to bed, we don't have what we didn't make somebody happy. Did we piss somebody off? We now have to go to bed thinking, you're right. I got this.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm going to be the pebble in the ripple for me and hope that my ripple helps somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Terry, I do the same thing at night because I used to literally, and I know I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I would lay there and I would think, okay, I did what I needed to do today, but I would start at the beginning and then I go through every conversation and say, could I have offended someone? How could I have done it better? I hope they didn't take it this way when I didn't mean it that way. And I would go through and it would keep me up and it's so unnecessary. And so I literally had insomnia. So what I do is I say thank you at night because I have a problem of having a thought and then it leads to another one and then I start going in a circle. So thank you for me doesn't lead anywhere. It's just thank you.
Oh, just thank you.
And then I say thank you again and I say thank you again. And sometimes at night, I don't know, I'm funny like this. It's not so much anymore, but I used to get creeped out. Like sometimes when I'm laying in the dark, I have a wild imagination. And so if you're anything like me and you're laying in the dark and you're getting creeped out, I always find something that brings you comfort. Like for me, it's either thank you, and I feel like it increases my vibration a little bit too. So if there is anything creepy, maybe it can't access me anymore. I don't know, or my imagination forgets. And the other thing I say is Psalms 23. You know, the Lord is my shepherd. That one I can repeat and it brings me peace all the time. So those are my two things that I do at night to get out of my head.
Wow, that's a good one.
I love that one.
No, I just say, nope, gotta go. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And then I move it. My hair is getting too long, so it's in my eyes. So if I'm starting to be
I know. And like
annoying,
this, what is that? Why does it look like that there? It's really bugging me.
well, then fix it.
There we go. Gone. Moved on. So, when I was thinking about this podcast, how do you become more spiritual and what do you do and what do I do personally in our lives? The first thing I came up with that makes a really big difference for me are my thoughts because people have the same thoughts over and over again every single day. The average person has like 60,000 thoughts a day, and they are typically like 80%, 80, 90% the exact same thoughts that you had the day before. So if you're in an unhealthy line of thinking where you wake up and you're like, oh, I gotta go do this today, and you just have these negative things that automatically pop up, I feel like you have to, for me, I call it catch them and cut them. That's what I do now. I literally see it. It's like all of a sudden I'll notice I'm just like getting in the shower, getting ready for the day, and like all these thoughts are creeping up. And I think of them like weeds now because I won't even have been thinking about anything. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to wash my hair. And then it's like, oh, so-and-so said this yesterday. Just whatever. I'm like, why am I thinking about that? It doesn't make any sense right now. I'm not having an issue with that person. I'm not upset. Why is this creeping up in my head? And so I literally now take, like, in my head, I imagine it's grass or a weed, and I just cut it down to the base. So I try and catch the thought and then cut it away as soon as I am aware that there's no reason for me to be thinking those thoughts. And for me, the reason I think that helps me become more spiritual is because it clears my mind of cluttery, negative thoughts that are not helping me in any way. And it's a pattern, it's a routine of these same thoughts over and over. So for me, I do that, and I don't always catch myself, but I try. And so for me, that's one of my number one things to start getting clarity is to clear the unnecessary repetitive thoughts in my head that don't lead to anything good. So I call it catch and cut.
Catch and catch.
Catch and cut.
Catch and cut.
There you go.
She sees it.
I can see it. Yep.
Well, you're a very visual person.
I am.
So and that's your thing, right? And not a lot of us are visual, and I just have to shake it off. Like, you just need to go. But that is somewhat of my little cheat sheet list that I'm looking at, which was be mindful of your thoughts, your words, or your actions. And also, I know that in the past, I've talked about when I go to the street fairs, I usually get one of two tattoos on the henna, which is stop. And stop is for me to stop, think, observe, plan before you open your mouth. So that's kind of the same thing. Just cut it, like those thoughts that are coming into your head. My thing is just that I don't mean to open my mouth and let stuff spit out. It just sometimes it does. And then you're like, oh shit, I can't take that back. It's just like sending a bad email. You hit send and it's gone, right? So if you stop in the moment and evaluate what was just said, because we're just going to project our opinion. Everyone has an opinion, and we could talk about the same subject. Even if we agree on the same subject, it's different, right? So it causes friction. Just you're right and I'm right in our minds, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. But on my other one, I have another one. So that was the one that kind of matched up with yours.
Yeah.
Is that I think meditation and yoga, and my husband recently moved our sauna from a place I wouldn't go into it into the rec room. So I can now go into infrared sauna, and I'm putting crystals and stones in it to just sit there in that hot heat. Especially in the winter time, where things can be sad and your mind can go to those ugly little things, right? So we have to try to keep us warm. So meditation, yoga, and for me, it's also my sauna. I do meditation. I have done yoga, but I don't do it on my own.
Right. And I have one like that. Spend more time alone or more just quiet time. So I think those are places like yoga may not be alone, but it does clear your head. Like if you go to a class, you are doing an individual activity with other people. So that could be the same thing. But clearing your mind through meditation, sauna, relaxing, like you've got to find a way to relax your body and your mind together. And that's what you just said. That's what it makes me think of, relaxing the mind and the body. So we do that all different ways. Some people might do that cycling. Some people might, it just depends who you are and what you like to do, but find that, find what that is for you. Because I think sometimes of that small, still voice, and you can't always hear it. You know what I mean? Like imagine you're in a Starbucks and you're trying to order a coffee, but everyone is in line and yelling and it's loud in there. And you're like, I want a hazelnut latte, but no one can hear you because everything is loud and chaotic. And so once it gets quiet, people can hear you. And that's a really silly analogy, but
good. No, that works because everyone does that.
Yeah. So when you're on your phone or people are talking at you and blah, 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 how are you ever going to hear that inner need or that inner thought, inner idea, whatever it is that's trying to speak to you? And so you just have to calm that chaos to get your hazelnut latte.
That's really hard, but you're right. It's hard. No, I like that analogy because that fits. That fits. Well, someone says, who don't drink coffee? But you get the same sense.
Right. It's just about like, what's the importance of quieting so you can hear what's trying to be said. Like, I don't remember why I'm thinking of this where I heard it, but it's like your messages are always coming. Your inner voice is always talking, or you just have to hear it. And are you spending the time to try and hear it? I don't know,
You talk about being spiritual, but spiritual is sometimes part of being psychic or being a medium. And if you can quiet your mind, you would be amazed at what you connect to.
Yeah.
Right. So
Absolutely.
that's why they say meditate, meditate. For years, I was told to Terry, if you just meditate. I'm like, F that. That is not for me. This mind doesn't shut up, right? But I'm learning. I'm learning to do it. And, 5 minutes a day at a time until you build it up is works for me.
Yep.
Something
Absolutely.
I tried to teach like JJ, because it helps me to teach somebody else. And then I think I need to be that kind of role model. You know what I mean? Practice what you preach, right? And
Yeah.
so it's to help others without gain. Just because you helped me with the dishes doesn't mean I have to pay you that allowance. You should want to help me with the dishes so you and I could do something fun. Opening the door for somebody, complimenting somebody, taking somebody flowers with not expecting them to hand you a gift back tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
So without gain, you don't need to be rewarded for your niceness or your giving heart.
Absolutely. And in a world right now that's like so shallow, it can be really easy to forget how good it feels to give without the expectation, because that's not why you should be giving or why you should be helping. It should be out of the goodness in your heart. And
Right.
you can do something nice for someone even secretly, and
Right.
they never know. And that
Right.
would be amazing.
Yes.
When I was in school, there was a club called Random Acts of Kindness.
Oh.
And so you would do random acts of kindness secretly or whatever. And I thought that's such a nice concept, because it does make you feel good, and you can, be an angel on earth. Nobody has to know but you.
Well, remember we had Michelle Glasgow on, and she does that. Oh, her Jeffries.
Oh, yeah. Jeffries. Yeah.
Oh boy. So, but she's been known to do those things and just leave something on a bench or whatever.
Oh,
I really like
that.
And I was like, I found a rock. I never find those rocks. And you're supposed to get a rock, and then you're supposed to go on this site, which I don't do. And then you're supposed to put it somewhere else. I'm so sorry, but I really keep my rocks because I find so little of them. But one time I had told you guys about the poop rock that I found. And did I tell you that story? Well, I was going into town, and I was having, seriously, a really crappy day. And so I walked and was going to the Bluebird, and I went in and I looked, and I came back out of the Bluebird, and I felt a little bit better about my day. And I walked past the same street, whatever, and something said, stop. And I was like, okay. So I look, and in the plant where people have been putting their cigarette butts, was this rock, and it was a poop emoji. And I said, oh my God, I was having a shitty day. You gave me a shitty rock. And I laughed about it the rest of the day. Right. So, and it came from some Arlington group in Arlington, it said, and I didn't do anything with it, but it's on the back of my toilet.
That's hilarious.
Right.
Yeah. That's something you can do. Paint rocks and then go hide them. And you never know how you're going to affect somebody like that. Like Terry, it made her laugh on a crappy day. And that's
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm in charge of how crappy my day is going to be or how good my day is going to be, right? Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Random acts of kindness. And then what else do you have?
I have, well, we talked about loving yourself, but something I found over the years, just as I get older, is detaching more from the drama of other people's lives or like the world, because you can't control it. And so I have found in detaching, I am able to love myself more and be more worried about my needs and what I need to get done for myself, because I'm classically one of those people who is always worried about how other people are doing. And I know there's a lot of people out there like that. You're like, oh, I gotta go make so-and-so food. And you're just so worried about other people that you don't take care of yourself. And so in detaching and having the understanding that as a one individual, you were never meant to take care of the entire world. You were never meant to take care of every single person in your family, and you're never meant to take care of every single detail of everything, because it's impossible. And it is a group effort for everything. So to take some of that off of your shoulders and detach and give it up to your spiritual person or God or whoever, and just say, I can't control all of that. And so I have to start to detach my emotions from it, because it's not helping me be a better person. It's not helping me show up for people in my life, and it's really hard. So that, I think, is a really hard one to
It is
detach.
so hard. It is so hard.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm just going to throw in, especially if you're empathic, or if you follow the human design and you have open gates or something,
Yeah.
it's just in your DNA to make everybody happy. Or let's say mom died and mom was that person, and you're like, oh God, everyone's going to fall apart now because mom's gone, or dad's gone, or sister's gone. They were the matriarchs, and then you
Yeah.
step in. It is so hard. Baby
Yeah.
steps is what I would say with that. Start with one thing that you can give up control, right?
Yeah.
One thing. It's really hard. I can't control what the kids do, but I try to help, not control.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
sometimes if they have to fall on their face to learn, that's their path to do so. I could
Mhm.
be like the husband, Les, and say, well, you should have blah, 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 or I would blah, blah, blah. And he drops the mic and he walks away. And you're just left there going, I have to think about what he said. You know what I mean? And then it makes no sense every freaking time. Tara knows it, Jeffrey knows it, JJ knows it, I know it. It's whatever. That is really hard. That one made me cry,
Yeah.
Amanda.
Aw.
That one's
Well,
hard. But it's
it's
not just the
it's really hard.
kids. It's not just the kids. If I see one of my friends, or see somebody that's not my friend, and something is unjust right there, oh, remember my
Mhm.
mouth opens? Sometimes my mouth opens and goes, dude, you need to have respect. I don't even care if there's a kid out of hand in the store. I'm thinking,
Mhm.
oh, you shouldn't talk to mommy like that. It's none of my business. It's just have respect for
Yeah.
your mom, right?
Yeah. But it goes back to awareness too. What you have to become aware of, what is it that is pulling you down that you need to detach from. And so for you, maybe it's situations like that. Like we said before, I'm a very visual person,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of grotesque things out on video and pictures, and I have a really hard time if I see something violent or anything with kids. Like when I close my eyes and I try and sleep at night, or just in any downtime, the images just pop in my head. And I have a bleeding heart, right? Especially for children. And so I can't let it go. But these
Mhm.
are like, I don't know these people. I have no idea what's going on with them. I have no control over them or what their situation is. And so I can't just sit here and let it eat me. And so for me, that's something that when I do try and have alone time or downtime or meditation time, instead of being able to have a clear mind or focus, all these negative images of anything I've seen over whatever these years, they pop into my head. And
Mhm.
so I have to be able to close the door on those and say, I'm sorry for whatever happened to you, but I can't do anything, and I bless you and I pray for you and I whatever, but I have to detach and I have to let it go.
Mhm.
I can't. And so for me, that's a lot of what I have to detach from. And then of course, like family things, because we all have family things. And
But what if you don't say anything? Then I beat myself up for not saying something, right? And it's just like I kind of want that door that says, "Oh, I'm having you." Let's say it's you, and you're having something go on. Are
Yeah.
you just venting to me, or do you want me to interject, or does psychic Terry pop up, or whatever? You know what I mean? It's just like, where's that okay door to say, this is what you need to do? That's why, keeping my mouth stop, using stop. It's just a hard practice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's entirely up to you. If you, we were talking about detaching from others. So it depends what your motivation is too. Like,
Sure.
Is your motivation to help people, which I'm sure it is, or is your motivation just to be like, well, I don't think you should be doing that if in a situation where you don't know the people or something? I don't know. So everybody has their own situations, but for me, detaching from drama and emotions where I have no control is very important for my life.
That's true. That's good.
What else
Another
you got?
thing, I like to listen to music sometimes. I love music, but then I find that my husband does this. This is his meditation. When he goes to work in the morning, he will not put the radio on. He never listens to the radio. He always drives in silence. And whether he's talking to his tribe, his peeps, or whether he's just getting ready for his day at 4:30 in the morning, I also will drive down the road and not have that noise. Not a lot, but I do. And sometimes I'll come up with really weird things in my head, and I'm thinking, well, that was not me. So that's that open channel, right? Well, that was not me. So music, yes, but no music, yes.
So to get more spiritual is to listen to music, maybe that moves you.
Yes.
Gotcha. And then
Or
also
to find the silence. Learn to live in the silence. We always hear something, 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 something. And if you take the radio out and you just drive, I think it just lets you just focus and just be. See what pops into that head. I'm sure you have a lot of cool things that could pop into your head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Just being,
Music,
just being present. Just be.
Some people don't just have music on all the time. Some people can't clean house without the music. Okay, fine. Put music on and dance. That's spiritual. That gets you out of your head. That gets you moving. That makes you happy. That gets your blood pumping.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I mean, music is very emotional. It can bring you through all of the emotions. And so you have to also pick wisely. There's a lot of music that is very, I would almost call it dangerous because it can be almost become like a mantra or however you want to say it. Like if you have some really funky lyrics, because these songs get in your head, and then I'll find myself repeating words, and I'm like, what did I just say? Oh my gosh, I can't listen to this. Like, I don't know. I guess trying to become more spiritual is a lot of awareness of what you are doing in your life. What are you listening to? Is it helping you, hurting you, moving you? Whatever. Just become aware. Yeah. How are you treating people, and what are your motivations? Like if you're visiting with a family member and you just had something happen and you feel like sharing it because it'd be fun to talk about that person or what just happened to them, or like the deets, right? What's the juice on this person? What is your motivation before you have the conversation? Is it just to have fun gossiping, or do you really need to give this person information about the other for a good reason? Like to just check your motivations, because I've stopped myself from having some conversations because I'm like, wait, I'm not doing this for a nice reason. I just want to talk about this situation because it's juicy or something, And so.
But sometimes if you're talking like example, if we're talking about somebody and we know this person and we're concerned about this person, we're concerned about the relationship, and we're talking and hoping that they see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know what I mean? Then that is like
the motivation isn't just to dish or whatever, however you want to say it. So that's
It's
what I
just
mean.
like,
That's an
you're
okay.
concerned, I'm concerned, and somebody else is concerned. And it's kind of like, how can we help them? How can we see it? And maybe we already did say what we could say and whatnot, and then we have to leave it alone and just see how that pans out. But because it's their path, but that's
Like,
different.
is it
To me, that's different.
is it constructive conversation, or is it just fun to chit chat about someone?
Right.
And so, but it just happens. And so I have to check my motivation too, just that's, just trying to rise above pettiness, because it's really easy to be petty sometimes. And I'm not saying you or me in particular. I just think in life it is. And so I think, at least on my spiritual journey, like trying to become more spiritual is lessening anything like that down to a dull roar, and having constructive conversations like you're talking about. And anyways, that's all I have to say about that one. What else do you got?
Oh, because I know you and I could go blah 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 blah, like, because we're opinionated, or at least I am, anyways. The other one I have, moving on, is to go hiking, go swimming, sit by water, hug a tree. We've talked about this before, and yes, I do mean hug a tree. You know what I mean? Just sit out there. The other morning, I went to take the dog out, and it was like 6 in the morning, maybe 10 to 6 in the morning. And of course, our time is changing here in Washington, where it's still kind of dark out. And I walked outside, and I could literally hear the trees. And I couldn't even pay attention to the dog. I was just like, what is this? And it almost made me feel like they were humming together. And normally you wouldn't know that, because you wake up, you get in the car, you put the radio on, you brush your teeth, you're yelling at the kids, you make the coffee pot. But this was right out of bed into outside. And I didn't want to come back in. The dog pulled me back in. I just wanted to listen to the trees. It was slightly windy-ish, and it was dewy-ish, all my ishes. And so it just kind of played this like music, this harmony. And I couldn't stop staring at it. And last night I was telling my next year's honey-do list is to hopefully get a hardcover on the gazebo, because I would like to sit underneath that when it snows or when it rains, and just bundle up and just sit out there and listen to nature. Right. It was very peaceful for me. And I found it in a place that I normally probably wouldn't see.
That's beautiful. And that's on my list too, is connect to something that makes you feel bigger than yourself. And I think nature can do that. I mean, that's why people go camping, right? You need to be out in nature to kind of reset your soul and be near the water. It's scientifically proven that even looking at pictures of water relaxes you. And so taking the time to go out, whatever that looks like for you, and just connecting with nature.
Yeah, I like that.
There's so many different ways to do that. So
there's also Girls' Day, Guys' Day, Family Day. You're going to go family with the hiking, but just recently you and your mother invited me to have a Girls' Day. That was so nice. Honestly, well, you do know I don't do those. I don't have time to do those. But I had an amazing day, and shopping. It rained. It got windy. We saw some sunshine and some blue skies. We met some interesting people. Saw a lot of crafts and hot rods, and we just went to the Mount Vernon Fair. So if you guys don't know where we went, where it was fun, where it was. And yes, we had lunch, and we sang in the restaurant. Remember? We were singing to the old school tunes.
I think that's wonderful. And a part of becoming more spiritual is not being so serious.
You know how we talk about
Yeah.
doing things without gain?
Yeah.
I always feel like I have to pay for everybody. I always feel
Mhm.
like, oh, I'll get this, I'll get that. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because
Mhm.
when we went, not only
Mhm.
did you guys pay for parking, somebody paid for parking. It wasn't me.
Mhm.
I tried. And then I didn't even
You did.
have to pay for my ticket getting in. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
was so nice that, and then of course, yes, I feel like, okay, I got to do something back, but I don't, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's okay to say thank you and
It's okay to
okay.
receive. It's okay to receive
And that's
without.
hard for me.
Mhm. And I
When
think yeah, that's really hard for a lot of people.
So a long, long, long time ago, I have a friend and a very good friend, and she's really good with money. And she said, "You really need to watch where your money goes." And I said, "Oh, okay, I just spend it." And so she made me save receipts for a whole entire month, every receipt. I don't care if it's a
Mhm.
piece of gum, you save this receipt. And at the end, you're going to give me all the receipts, and I'm going to itemize your receipts, and we're going to see where your spending is.
Wow.
60% of my spending was on other people. I was buying them lunch, buying their gas, going to the movies and paying for it, buying them gifts. And that's all good because I felt like I needed to give that way. But it was a big eye opener of how much I did. And then from that moment
Mhm.
on, I tried to step it back. But the drive to sit there and pay for this is really
Mhm.
still in me. Um,
Yeah. And you got to check your motivation for that. Why do you have a drive to pay for people's stuff?
to be nice because
It's
it's
got
the
to
right
go
thing to
deeper than
do.
that.
It's the right
But
thing to
don't they
do. I
have their
just
own money? Anyways, I'm just
yes,
saying, sometimes
yes.
it's not just to be nice. It could go deeper, or it could be like, especially with friends and stuff. It's one thing with kids, but with friends, it's, are you paying because then they're going to want to hang out with you? And I'm not saying you, I'm just saying for other people, it could go
Mhm,
deeper. And I had this
mhm.
problem in the past. I actually am so embarrassed to say this. I I bought a car for a boyfriend, and
Mm,
because I would rather, and he was a terrible boyfriend. He cheated on me all the time. He wasn't nice. He did make me laugh on occasion. That's probably why he was still there. But at that point in my life, I would rather be with anyone than be alone. And so for me, buying things for everyone around me helped me think that they would remain in my life and that they would like me. And
mhm,
they never did.
mhm,
And I wasn't being authentic. And it also showed, later in years, looking back, that I didn't love or respect myself or think I was valuable enough to have a friendship or a relationship with without spending all my money on other people. I would spend money till I didn't have anything. I couldn't pay for my groceries or my gas because I was buying things for other people, to the point where I could not live my own life. And so
yeah.
I had to stop. And I even took loans out in my 401k to
Wow.
pay for things for
To
people.
fix it, to fix it.
Yeah. And
Um,
so
mhm.
that's why I'm like, it could go deeper. Like for me, it
Could
was a
go
really
deeper.
severe insecurity that I really had to fall deep into before I could slowly back out
Mhm,
and not have that destructive behavior. And it's
mhm,
certainly not like that for everyone.
mhm,
But just that awareness too, like, why am I doing this? Is it
mhm.
because I'm afraid to be alone? And
Mm.
that's what it was for me. I thought I
But
wasn't worth it.
sometimes I think but really, I am a firm believer in karma somehow, some way. Some shit
Mhm,
don't happen as fast as I want it to go down, but I'm telling you, I believe
mhm,
in it. So if you're giving,
mhm,
then it's a pay it forward type of thing.
mhm.
I don't
But
know
people do
why.
take advantage, and I don't think it's always pay.
Mhm,
I think there are takers in life and givers,
mhm,
and there has to be balance. And I just think, yes, giving is good. I'm so sorry to cut you off. I just want to say, like, I don't want anyone to get the idea that just giving to people is going to give you good karma, because you might actually be creating bad karma.
Right. That's why I had to stop. Right. So I had to stop. But at the time, I mean, it was way long time ago. It was a long time ago. And but I never realized I was doing it, but I never gave myself that. Like, the only thing that I think I ever gave myself is I got my nails done. That was it.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend $1 on myself. I wouldn't buy anything. I did have to look nice for work, so I would never get my nails done, but I'd always make sure my hair looked nice. But yeah, it's like such an imbalance.
Right. Yeah, but now it's different, and now I try to do the best that I can, and it's baby steps, and it's part of the way I'm trying to do my spirituality. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. We have about 5 minutes left. So is there anything else on your list that you want to share, or anything that popped into your head?
Nope, just be one with nature, and just write yourself love notes or leave yourself notes on the mirror. I started putting what kind of like a vision board, but I'm laminating mine because I'm putting them in the bathroom on the mirror, and I don't want the condensation from the steam to melt them or ruin them. So I'm putting different ones up on the mirror. For me, my husband, I even wrote him a love you message on the mirror, and then when it fogged up, he could see it. So I'm making those things for me now.
Okay. Yeah.
So
get yourself in the right mindset, and use a mantra or something, and read those and put them where you can see them.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have anything else. Oh, okay. So one last thing that I wanted to share before we go is to always ask, when you're having challenges in your life, what's the bigger picture? And instead of saying, why is this happening to me, say, what is this teaching me?
What? Right? Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, because it's really hard. I mean, and we've been through a lot. There's a lot of things, like a lot. And so, I mean, even with the most serious, having a small child with cancer, it's really hard to be like, when you're in the moment, of course, why is this happening? But to still, even in those hard moments, say, what am I learning? Or what is this teaching me? What's the bigger picture right now? And so I think it's extraordinary to be able to try and rise above the most painful situations. And anyway, so when you can do that earnestly and honestly from your heart, and just the try, I think that will elevate you, because it's going to take you out of the muck a little bit and go, okay, there is something to be learned here, and maybe this is just part of my journey.
I wouldn't be where I'm at today had I stayed in the poor me, or why is this happening to me? Because when something, say, my example is that if you had a bad divorce or a bad relationship and you stayed in it too long, but then you came out of it and you were fearful of coming out of it because at least you had a roof over your head, at least you were safe, but you came out of it, and years later, something bigger happened because you had to move, you had to shift. To me, that is where the path was probably trying to take you, but you weren't listening, right? But then there's other things. There's death of somebody and a loved one that rocks your world in a different way, and we don't know why.
Yeah.
But I feel like seeing, like, okay, where there's a reason. There's a reason. There's always a reason.
Yeah. Sometimes everything breaks. Everything breaks because it's supposed to be put back together a different way that's more suited for you, or you're on an accelerated program of learning.
Everything teaches us. Everything teaches us.
Yeah.
Even the broken things will teach us something. We're always learning and adjusting. And sometimes it's just as simple as being able to share it with a friend or somebody and say, well, I've done that. I didn't see the picture, but this is how I see it. And maybe they take a piece of it. Maybe they take all of it. Maybe they don't take any of it. But somehow, some way you can relate. Sometimes that's the bigger picture.
All right, guys, we're going to have to close it up here. I feel like we could talk about this one forever. There's just so many things.
So many cool things that you could talk about. You just really look at it. I would hope that these viewers of ours would start watching and commenting and sharing what they're going through. I really would like to know. Give us our topic to talk back to you, right?
Yeah.
So
we'll see how it goes. But
we
are thankful for you viewers, and you know, that's why we do this, just to try and help. So we will see you next time.
From my heart to yours, I love you.